Hey, Pete here for Studio Live today. Now, you know those videos where they spend 20 minutes talking about something that you're trying to do only to tell you that it can't be done? Well, this is not one of those videos. So because I value your time and you're here to answer the question, can I download and install Apple's GarageBand software on my Windows PC? I want to cut straight to the chase and tell you the answer. No, 100% no. Unfortunately, I am the bearer of bad news. You cannot download and install the GarageBand software on your Windows PC. Okay, so now that I have that off my chest, I feel a lot better, but you probably don't. And I'm sorry about that, but hopefully I've saved you a lot of time and frustration and clicking around to the various unscrupulous places on the web where they are perpetuating this particular rumor. Okay, so if that's the only reason that you clicked on this video, well, you are 100% free to go. You have your answer. It's probably not the one that you wanted, but you can get on with your life. However, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about this, about why there are so many people telling you that you can install GarageBand on your PC, you want to know why it's very unlikely that you ever will be able to, and potentially some alternatives to GarageBand on PC, well then hang around because we're going to jump in to some extra information now. Let's go. Okay, so why are so many people online telling you that you can download GarageBand on your PC? Well, like a lot of things online, the reason is cash. You see, because GarageBand is so awesome and there is nothing on the PC that quite matches the experience, it is actually a really common search term. So a lot of folks are searching for GarageBand, Windows, and PC. And what some unscrupulous folks like to do is they like to take search terms that people are looking for, give them a little bit of false hope, and then direct them down the rabbit hole. And why do they do that? Well, they benefit from some revenue generated by advertising. So what do I mean by advertising? Well, every time you click a link or you click on a video on anywhere on the web, or especially on YouTube, then you are being served advertising, and that advertising is being paid for by advertisers. However, what happens is that Google or YouTube or whoever is serving up that ad is going to take a little piece of that advertising revenue and give it back to the creator. So the way a lot of folks make money is by having their content monetized, and that means that they actually get a little bit of money for the advertising that is played to people who look at their content. And now anytime there is money to be made, especially online, there's going to be unscrupulous people who are going to find ways to exploit the system. So by putting out content that's going to make people think it's instructions to download GarageBand on PC, but actually just being a random rant about how you possibly maybe could, they're going to get views and therefore they're going to be making money from the revenue. And unfortunately, it doesn't end there. What some extra unscrupulous folks are going to do is they'll even link to software that you can download that they are claiming is GarageBand, but is actually adware, spyware, ransomware, or something very nasty that is going to not do good things to your PC. So before we move on and talk a little bit more about the software itself, there's one more thing that often comes up that people say to me whenever I say that you can't install GarageBand on a PC, and that is that if you are able to install the Mac OS on your PC, on your Windows PC, then you can make what's called a Hackintosh, which is not technically legal. You need a copy of Mac OS, which if you don't purchase, again, that is not legal, and you need to do a whole lot of work to get an operating system running on architecture, on system that it was not designed to run on. So before I get a whole bunch of comments saying, hey, you can actually do this, yes, you can actually do it, but for me, I like things simple, and doing that is not going to be simple for the average or even the intermediate or advanced user. Okay, so while I'm being the bearer of bad news, why don't we talk a little bit about why it is not likely that there will ever be GarageBand for the PC? Well, to answer that, we have to look back at the history of GarageBand. So Apple launched GarageBand back in, insert date here, I can't remember. Steve Jobs did a big keynote where he talked about the software. I think he had John Mayer, some sort of musician, on stage. Anyway, I'll link to it down below. And this was part of their iLife suite. And the software itself is 100% free, and it is designed to sell Apple Macintosh computers. So the reason that we're unlikely to see it on a PC anytime soon or ever is that Apple aren't in the business of PC software. They're in the business of selling their own hardware, their own laptops, their own computers, MacBooks, Mac Pros, all the rest of it. So for them to switch over and start producing software that's free on the Mac and put it on the PC is not actually going to do themselves any service. So again, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's very unlikely that we're ever going to see GarageBand on the PC platform. However, that's a good segue to move on to what are some alternatives that we have to GarageBand when we want to produce music on our Windows PC. Now let's put something right up here on Front Street, and that is that there really is nothing on the PC that is quite like GarageBand. GarageBand is its own software, and it definitely has its own interface and style and flair that just isn't replicated in other softwares. So I wanted to get that out there, but here are some things that you can try if you're interested in experimenting with music on your PC. Okay, so assuming that you want to stick somewhere in the free software realm, the most commonly used free audio production software used by a lot of people that do podcasts and basic music and audio editing is Audacity. So Audacity is a free multi-track digital audio workstation. The second recommendation, and what I actually recommend, is a software called Reaper. And you can go to reaper.fm. Reaper is free for 30 days, and then you can actually keep using it free after 30 days with a bit of a nag screen. And I think it's $65 to actually purchase a license on Reaper. So both of those are really good options. Now, you're not going to get things like your virtual instruments out of the box, your interface that you have on GarageBand, but you are going to be able to record using MIDI, record using microphones and other instruments if you have an interface. And if you want to learn all about that, I've got a lot of videos. I'll put some links down below as well. But they are probably the two options you have. When you move on from that, you get into your paid software. You get into things like Studio One and Nuendo and other digital audio workstations, which are absolutely fine and work well. But if you're looking for something that's cheaper and a GarageBand alternative, there are a couple of ideas that I have that I would recommend taking a look at. Okay, it's starting to get dark and to rain, so we're going to finish up there. I hope you found something useful, interesting, educational, or insightful in this video. And if you want to learn more about recording, some other options, or of course if you have an iPhone or an iPad and you want to use GarageBand iOS, I've got a heap of videos and tutorials and other things down below and in the channel. Just go to studiolivetoday.com if you've got comments, questions, or suggestions about this video, or if you want to recommend some other alternatives to GarageBand on PC, I'd love to hear from you. Just drop a comment down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.